Hi, Pablo. Thank you so much for joining us on the Next in Line podcast. We're very excited to have you on as a guest today. Now, before we get into all the things that we're going to talk about, I want you to take us back to the beginning of your journey, kind of introduce yourself to the audience and share a little bit about, who you are and how you got to where you're at today.
Sure, Karina. Thank you very much for having me, first of all. And well, tough to do it short, but I will try. Uh, right now, I'm CMO for Honey. Honey is a technology company. We do technology for restaurants. My last role was as marketing director of ESSEC University, which is a university from Spain that has 12 campuses, 9 in Spain, 1 in Colombia, 1 in Brazil. And now I'm back in the startup world, per se. Uh, it's where I started. I started my journey 10 years ago in Appear, which was a nightlife social app that evolved into 4Venues. I started as marketing manager. Then I served as chief operating officer for 4Venues, which is a software company for nightclubs mainly. Then I founded my own startup, my own education startup, which was Magistral. It was a platform to train your soft skills. We served around 20,000 students and 200 companies from Latin America and Spain, primarily. So that was 4 years. We eventually shut down the company because it didn't reach neither profitability nor the growth requirements that you need to continue getting VC.
Yeah.
And then I joined Talent, which is an education company for hospitality as CMO. And then I talked about ESSEC University and Honey. So pretty much 10 years of a mix of marketing, of operations, and some entrepreneurship as well.
Well, what an incredible journey. And thank you so much for sharing. It sounds like you've had many different roles. And obviously, as an entrepreneur, you wear many different hats. So I kind of want to dive deep into that.
Sure.
And I know that when we spoke before, you talked about working with entrepreneurs. You're an entrepreneur yourself, even while you were still in university. So, what kind of drew you to this world? And what did those early experiences teach you about business and creativity?
Good question. Well, when I started, I didn't want to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't love business per se either. I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be a journalist first of all. Then I wanted to study physics, and then I got a scholarship in grade 11 to study in Canada. So I got a scholarship from the Amancio Ortega Foundation, which is the founder of Inditex, Zara, and other companies. A really respected business person here in Spain. And I got a full scholarship to study a year in Canada. That made me think because it changed my mind a lot. I think North American people, especially in the States, but also in Canada a little bit, you view different entrepreneurship, you view different failure.
Yeah.
So I remember coming back and thinking, hey, I want to study business. So that was the moment my mind shifted, let's say. So that's how I wanted to become an entrepreneur. And then I joined a university which is called EDEM, which is a really cool project because they have in the same area, in the same building, EDEM, which is a university that has a degree focused on entrepreneurship. Then you have Lanzadera, which is an accelerator that hosts around 200 startups every single year or more. And then you have Angels, which is the VC that only invests in startups from Lanzadera. So you had in the same building a whole bunch of different students who want to become entrepreneurs and actual entrepreneurs. So I guess your atmosphere also influences you a lot. So if you spend the day with musicians, you most likely will want to learn to play an instrument. So I guess the same thing for entrepreneurship.
That's very true. It's almost like that saying, like you become almost like the people that you surround yourself with. And you being in that environment with all those entrepreneurs, kind of like it sounds like that kind of sparked that side in you too, which is very cool.
Yeah, more or less. I had a really good, had the luck also very early in my career to work with an amazing CEO, which is Alberto Centeno. He's the CEO and founder of 4Venues. I met him in the previous company he founded, which was Appear, the social nightlife application that didn't succeed. a lot of downloads, but downloads don't pay the bills. That's what we learned.
Yeah,
So we eventually pivoted into for venues. I think he's one of the best entrepreneurs here in Spain and had a really big impact in me early in my career because I worked on everything with him. And yeah, I guess surrounding yourself with the correct people also help you.
for sure. I couldn't agree more. And now I want to talk a little bit about the jump that you made to the corporate life because you
Yeah.
kind of have this balance as well. And what was that transition like for you? And what did you learn from seeing marketing at a larger global scale?
Well, it was tough at the beginning for me because I had spent, I don't have a really large career, only 10 years, but I have spent most of it in the startup world for the good or for the bad of that. I love startups, but
Yeah,
it's true that it's difficult, at least at the beginning, to have some scale. So I wanted to try as well the corporate, more corporate company. I joined ESSEC University, which is a really respected university here in Spain. I think they were the first ones to teach marketing in Spain in 1965, more than 60 years of history. And the thing is, their official universities in Madrid, which is a really competitive market for higher education. More than 20 universities in Madrid, in the community of Madrid, a whole bunch
yeah,
of international investment as well. So ISIG was experiencing a moment in which it needed to reset a little bit the brand, in my opinion, to gain more market share in the community of Madrid because there are a whole bunch of different educational institutions who are coming to Madrid and doing a really good job. So at the beginning, it was tough because I was used to maybe working with more entrepreneurs. So for the first time, I had a really, really directive role in which, to my girlfriend, I would say I did nothing. it's not it's not the case in the practical. But what I mean by that is that you have more people and more resources to get stuff done. You make less decisions, but if you're mistaken, you will get way more mistaken. If you are right, you get way more right. So you have to
yeah,
think about it way more. Not, I mean, for the first time you start thinking about legal stuff, for example. It's something maybe you don't really think about in the early days of your startup life, where you are just seeing if the business model makes sense and the product and everything.
yeah.
So it was a shock at the beginning for me, but I loved it as well. I had a really good experience in SIG. Um, the numbers were really good as well. We hit the targets, so that helps, of course, as well. And I don't know, it was great. A lot of great, great teammates from the marketing and sales team, and yeah, I love it. I will always be an SIG team member.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And now that you kind of talked a little bit about the marketing and sales team, I know that we talked about, one of the biggest wins was aligning the sales and marketing team that had struggled to collaborate at one point. So, how did you kind of build this bridge and change the culture around teamwork?
A coffee every morning at 8 o'clock. That's a short answer.
Yeah.
Thing is, marketing and sales, they both want the same thing normally because they both want to sell, or that's how I view marketing at least. Thing
Yeah.
in UK is that you have is the department where you can have people who are really, really different. Like you can have an art director, a designer, and then a data scientist. That doesn't happen in finance, for example, or in sales, where people normally can be more similar. So
Yeah.
the thing with marketing is that it also depends a lot on the vision that the head of the department has. In my opinion, this is the case. We have to think on business. So we both want the same thing. But the thing is that we don't have all the context. We don't see everything. Marketing maybe is thinking more about the market, about next year, and sales, and they have to do it this way. They are thinking about hitting the targets of next month, or this week, or today.
Yeah.
So balancing that is difficult. What we did in this case, first of all, I had also the luck to work with a fantastic business development director, an amazing person, more than 20 years of experience in a SIG and in sales, and a fantastic human being. So we made this agreement that we never really talked about it, but I guess it was kind of natural because
Yeah.
of the PR. of, hey, I'm not going to tell you you're not following up. You're not going to tell me there are no leads. Even though there were some times in which we both could see that maybe there were not enough leads that week, or there were a whole bunch of leads that we had not done the follow up because daily life happens. So we didn't force each other into telling us bad words about that and all that stuff. So the relationship was good, and we tried to instill that culture into the team that, hey, marketing is doing everything they can to hit the target. They use the
Yeah.
common number, and sales as well. Also, I think sharing the same KPIs and reviewing them daily or weekly, at least the head of the departments, that helps. So even though with my team I was reviewing the amount of leads and the quality of the leads and whatever, I never spoke about that with the head of sales. We only spoke about, hey, how many people actually signing up and
Yeah,
giving feedback and all that stuff. So I guess having the same book for the year, looking at the same things, looking at the same numbers, looking at the same KPIs, helps.
for sure. And I like that approach honestly because a lot of people, at least here in the US, they have like this misperception that like marketing and sales are always like either butting heads or, not on the same page. But at the end of the day, like we're all trying to reach the same goal, like you said. Like the conversions that feed the leads and all the things that kind of feed each other. It's like, how do we get this buy-in across the teams? Because at the end of the day, it is internal buy-in, I think.
Mhm.
Uh, so I like the approach that you were taking. And like you mentioned, like from the start of the conversation in this question, like it starts with the coffee, like aligning, the teams together, which is very true.
Yeah, exactly. You need to get coffee or whatever you drink with your head of sales.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you've also talked about building marketing teams from scratch and hiring people you've trusted from past experiences, which is amazing. How do you approach finding the right talent and what helps you keep them engaged and aligned with your vision at the end of the day?
Well, I think first of all is recognizing that being the head of any department, whenever you have that opportunity, is a responsibility.
Yeah,
So you're not their father or mother, but in some sense, you need to be thinking on their careers as well and their well being. So I
absolutely.
try to always be really clear with the people I work with when we start is, hey, what do you want? What do you need? Like, what's your goal for the next
Yeah.
4 or 5 years? Because if you tell me and if we share it, maybe I will see how I can help you reach that point in that time frame. And if not, it will be more difficult for me. But if you are successful, I mean, I will be more successful as well. So um, that's what I want for you. I want you to be successful. So what do you need? What do you want? So I normally try to have that conversation very early on,
Yeah.
and to make the person feel that it wasn't just a one conversation when we started. I tried to come up with this topic. Hey, you told me this 3 months ago. How's it going? What do you think? Do you feel better toward this goal or not? And then I try to make adjustments in order to get that. For example, a really recent experience I had in my current company with one of my teammates is that she was in a role that I think didn't really made her um, highlight all her capabilities.
Yeah.
So I changed her role. That's it, because I was like, hey, I think you would be. What you told me actually is that you want to be this in 5 years. If you want to do that, I think you would add a lot of value to the team from this area. What do you think? So we come same person, same company, just different, I guess, director in this sense. She's of what I of what she tells me and what I see. I think she's happier with the fit. So first
Yeah.
of all, is making them feel that you care about their career and
Yeah.
doing stuff, not only making them feel, but actually making stuff so they feel that with you, they're going to reach that point earlier. And that normally helps you as a director because the engagement and the work they put themselves will be the best they can. And when a person does the best they can, you cannot ask for more.
Yeah.
And then you also asked about hiring. It depends on also on on how many hires are you going to make. If it's a few, normally, when you have been in the market for a while, even though I haven't been for much, but for a little, you normally start to get to know some people, and normally I I call people that I think will be a really good fit for the project I'm working on, and sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't make sense. And then the last, of course, the last method I use is just public sharing that I'm looking for someone. But normally, they say 80% of the jobs don't are not public. You won't see them on LinkedIn, and it's
Yeah.
actually true. You don't need to work on Goldman Sachs for this. You can work in a really small company, and people still rely on confidence a lot. I do.
Yeah, that's true. I do too. Like I would like it when someone like either refers someone or like I think of someone like, oh, that I met a few years ago and bring them onto the team when the time is right. I feel like when you're able to have that trust with that person, it's also a lot easier with the process that you just said, like talking about the vision, aligning on the goals and, actually trusting them to execute everything that they need to do in their daily role.
Exactly. That's pretty much it.
And I wanted to ask about a little bit more on the hiring side. So, typically, I don't know how it really works in Spain because I know in the US we typically do like either full-time, contract. What's your style when you first hire someone on? Like, are you doing contract, full-time, or what does that look like? Freelance?
I mean, both. Normally, and depends on what you need. I
Yeah,
guess it's not a really good answer, but it really depends. Normally, I will do always a mix in between full time and freelancers. Normally, freelancers or agencies. I think it's pretty cool to rely a little bit on agencies because it helps you stay ahead on what's going on and it
yeah,
helps you think. I don't think it's a good idea though to use them as your team to substitute your team. I think the creativity and the marketing strategy needs to come from the inside, but getting help from really good agencies. So normally I will do a mix of full time and some freelancers or agencies. There are also some freelancers that you cannot hire. They have the personal brand, they're really good. And if you want to work with them on some project, you have
yeah,
to do it right. And I think that as a company, you shouldn't say no from the beginning to that. Um, because it really depends on the project and it really depends on the task. So I will do a mix normally. I try to have, I mean, the first thing I would ask myself is what's core for me in my company and the vision and my market plan, and my marketing plan. The core thing should be internalized, in my opinion, the core, because it's the only way to actually get an expertise that's enough to do something relevant in this market in which we have a whole bunch of different impacts every single day. And you need to go to do good stuff, really good stuff, because the level um, has raised in the last years. So I think the core thing of your marketing strategy should be internalized, and then you can help yourself with some freelancers and some agencies to help you fulfill that marketing plan. But if it's outsourced, the core thing of your marketing plan, I think you're going to suffer as a marketing executive nowadays because you won't have the speed needed to launch experiments at the pace that's needed to find what actually works for your business.
yeah. I agree. I think from what I've seen, the blend is what kind of works the best. Like leaning on the agency, leaning on the freelancers and internal, and they all kind of work together. Like that's when I've seen also like the best results.
I guess in the middle point, it's the key. I
Yeah.
think Aristotle said that or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense in 2026.
Yes, for sure. So I know that you've been leading teams since a young age in your career, and sometimes, sometimes more than a decade younger than other leaders at the table can be intimidating. I know that because I also feel that firsthand sometimes. And how did you build confidence and find your voice in those situations? Because I know, like, when we talked about this, like, we related on this topic a lot.
Yeah, I guess the personal experience or professional experience that resembles more with this, it was my last role in a SIG. I was in the executive committee, and yeah, as you said, I was the youngest. Um, and yeah, the average age was more. And the first thing I guess you have to think about is that if you're there, it's for something.
Yeah.
If you're, like, no company pays you for nothing.
Yeah.
No company pays you to add no value. So first of all, you have to think, hey, if I'm here, it's because they think and I think and we all think that I can add value. That doesn't mean that you have to feel above anyone. So the first of all is, hey, if I'm here, it's for something, so I can add value. So I'm gonna actually use my head to think, use my brain to think. And second of all is, hey, I'm not above anyone else in this room, but also I'm not underneath anyone else. So I'm gonna respect everybody, but I'm gonna make myself be respected as well because
Exactly.
I'm the same table. So I can bring value. So that, I guess realizing that, first of all, should help a little bit. And then it's just practice. I mean, maybe it's not the most amazing answer, but you wanted the first meeting won't be as amazing as the seventh, probably, because you feel more confidence and you have probably proved some stuff that made sense after your arrival. So that helps.
For
And
sure.
then the last thing I would say is we all have the same problems. It's just a matter of different magnitude and different moment of life. But the person who is 40 more or less wants the same thing the person who is 20. Just how they want it can change, but we all want the same thing. We want to feel good. We want to feel good with our friends and family. We want to feel good with our teammates. And we want to have a good life, all of us. That's
Yeah.
it. So realizing that as well, that there's no such differences between people, regardless of age, should also help as well.
For sure. And I think that sorry. When I think back, because I'm still very early on in my career, and hearing like everything that you're talking about, it's very relatable in terms of like in the beginning, I used to be like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I don't want to like overstep. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, like kind of in my own head. But the moment I realized, like, okay, I'm here for a reason, like I'm here to bring a unique perspective, it kind of shifted my mindset a little bit. Sorry. We're gonna have to hold on.
You said a really good word there. You said unique. I
Yeah.
think also people who have more experience are also valuing quite a lot um, the way younger people also see life because they are a big um, I guess the market is there. You know, the people who are 20 today will be the buyers of tomorrow. So you need to understand them. At the same time, you as a young person, you also need to respect a lot people who have 30, 40 years of experience because they have lived more stuff than you and they probably know more stuff than you in some areas. So
Yeah.
I think it's as bad to say, hey, this young person doesn't know anything, as saying something like, hey, this is a boomer. He doesn't know how social media works. So what? He knows or she knows other stuff. You can learn from that as well.
Exactly. And I think that's the one thing that when I was trying to talk about that just now before my voice gave out was that I realized that earlier on, like once that kind of shifted for me, I was like, okay, like I can learn so many things from a lot of the, let's say, people with more experience or maybe that are much older than me at the table and I can bring in my expertise because this is a fresh perspective. This is something maybe newer to these people that are sitting here. So why not kind of just speak your mind and obviously in a respectful way and not hold back? Because I feel like when people tend to hold back, like, how are you going to know if it aligns if you don't try? Like, that was kind of like my mentality when those things like those kind of situations came apart. So I felt like it was very similar to what you kind of mentioned too on like it's almost like just like get after it. Go for it. Like why not?
Yeah, that's right. It's like soccer or football or however you
Yeah.
want. Like, do you want the ball or not? I think companies are looking for young people as well who just ask for the ball. They want to play. Thing is, a lot of younger people feel ashamed to ask for the ball using
Yeah.
this sports metaphor. So
Yeah.
you should ask for the ball, be brave in that sense, and at the same time have a plan when you receive the ball, you know more or less what to do with it. So both things, prepare yourself, but also be brave and just do it. there's a thing that a lot of people I think that could think, hey, you gain confidence when you do something really tough or something difficult. I think it's the other way around. You get confidence after you've done something difficult or tough. And most of the people have no idea of how to do it at the beginning,
Yeah.
myself included. So these are there's gonna be like a Nike advertising, but just do it, I guess.
No, I love it. It's so good. It's very true though. That's kind of like the vibe for this episode. So, I know that eventually you returned to the startup world, and I want to know what kind of made you realize it was time to go back, and how did that move align with where you were personally and professionally at the time?
Well, in this particular case, it was just a really visionary CEO who I don't know. He sold me the idea, and I loved it. I think Honey is a company with a lot of potential, has an amazing product. They haven't done marketing before I joined, so that's
Wow.
why. And they were having clients and everything, so it's a really good space having a good product that hasn't been really communicated.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good opportunity. I love startups. I love the startup world. I really respect the CEO I'm working for at the moment. I think he's a really visionary person, and the team is amazing. The chief operating officer, the other co-founder, the CTO, they are really, really intelligent people, and the team itself, it's a small team, but really good, really, really good. Young people with a lot of passion and a lot of talent who have worked in other really successful startups. So if I put everything in the balance, I also had the chance to come back to my hometown for a while, which for my personal situation at the moment, it was good for me as well. So if I considered all of that in some sense, I thought it was a good moment to do it, even though, as I said, I had an amazing experience out of sick, and normally I would have continued because also the numbers were really good. But yeah, that was the decision. I guess in life you have to choose.
That's amazing. And now like you're in a situation where you're able to go back to like building that marketing from scratch, building up the team, messaging, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, the truth is that I like to be in the trenches.
Yes. Yes. It's kind of like, and that's like the best way to be as a CMO because you're the CMO now of Honey.
Yeah, but
Like,
I do everything. I'm
yes,
the I'm
exactly.
the CM,
Like,
you know.
that's the approach that I take too, because I'm a founder of a marketing agency myself, and I'm like, I'm in there just with my team, in the delivery, in the thick of everything because I love being involved, and I think that's the best way to also build that culture that you were saying, and that's why I think it's a testament to your leadership too.
Also, I think we are in the with this AI revolution and everything. It's a good moment to be in the trenches. In the
Yes.
sense, it's really easy to be a CMO today, stay only in the strategic side of things, which is super key and maybe the most important thing. At the same time, it's really easy to miss out nowadays and to not update yourself in terms of knowledge because things are changing way faster than when I started, for example.
Yeah, for sure. And then I know that you also recently started a podcast yourself, and you now are a host of that podcast. So I want to talk about the impact of podcasting and personal branding and how kind of building this credibility early on has helped you attract the right people for your team. What's your take on the role of a personal brand in leadership today?
I mean, some people say that, I don't know, by 2050, everybody's going to be a freelancer. Uh, Maybe it's extreme to say that, but at the same time, there's a lot of truth in that. For example, the father of my girlfriend, he makes, how you say, these football tables. How do you say that? Foosball. Do you know what is foosball?
Oh, yes, yes.
So he creates handmade foosball, for example. He has never had social media. His last football maker from the Valencian community. He does that with his hands. And for example, we uploaded the first video ever yesterday to his to a new Instagram account and TikTok account. We created, my girl and myself. The video got like 250,000 views in 24 hours, and
Oh,
he sold like 15 football tables in one day. What I mean by that is that personal branding nowadays, luckily or unluckily, means that you exist or you don't exist in today's world. Um, and I think most of the content creators could agree with that, that if you add value to the community in some sense, normally value comes back to you in some way. So first of all, it's fun. And second of all, you think long term, you should be investing a little bit in your personal brand. And what I mean by that, I'm going to relate it a lot to the conversation we had about being at the table and thinking that if you're there, it's for something. That means stating something, having an opinion on things. I love brands who have an opinion, or on the other side, there's nothing worse than a brand that doesn't have a clear opinion about something. I want to
Yeah.
say brand, you can say personal brand or you can say company brand. There are things you can think, hey, I know Nike would never do this, or Nike would do this, or I know Karina would never do this because you're a brand as well. So I think having something to say, having an opinion and sharing it with respect and everything, it's important nowadays, especially in this internet and social media and AI era we are experiencing. So super key. That's one of the major reasons why I'm doing this podcast. First of all, or not with any given order, but in some way for personal brand, in other way to learn myself because I'm interviewing really good CMOs and sales leaders.
Yeah.
Hopefully, some people also learn a little bit from that. I will be happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, same here. And I love it. I love the approach. So now kind of shifting gears to that next gen, I want you to think back to the start of your career. And what advice would you give your younger self and to the next generation just starting out their own journeys?
Well, I would have a couple hours to talk about this, but let's do it short. Maybe I would say, hey, first of all, even if it's not your fault, it can be your responsibility. So
Yeah.
people like working with people who take full responsibility about their stuff, even though it's not your fault. If you have that mindset, it will be easier to get to better jobs with greater responsibility, or just be more successful as an entrepreneur. Even if it's not your fault, it can be your responsibility.
Yeah.
Um, then I would say look for a good boss at the beginning of your career. I think having a good boss, and I want to say that word boss, because of something. Having a good boss early in your career, I think, is super key. I would probably prioritize this above a better salary, at least early in my career,
Yeah.
because it will help you advance way faster. And the contrary is also really true. So I would look for a good boss at the beginning. I would try to work for someone who I respect, who I admire in some way, regardless of the size of the company. Um, and the third thing would be something I just said is that confidence comes after you do something tough and difficult, not before that.
Yeah.
So don't think that you need to be confident in your stuff before taking the leap forward. Um, just do it and figure it out at some point in the middle of doing it.
Yeah. These are all really, really good points of advice. I'm already taking mental notes as you were talking.
Thank
So,
you.
my last question as we kind of wrap up this podcast today, I want you to go back and kind of think about when you first stepped into that leadership role. And, like, let's say someone is also in transition to that. What advice would you give them?
So it's a person that's going to be a leader like for the first time and managing a team or three or four or whatever. Good. Maybe I'm going to repeat myself, but because sometimes it's better to have fewer ideas, but resonate more with them and think about them more. And it's going to be think about their careers. Like you need to be 20% of your time kind of coaching. Sometimes some leaders I talk with, I also thought this way at the beginning. You get to the end of the day and you're like, hey, I haven't done anything. I haven't got any work done
Yeah.
because you've been in meetings, you've been coaching two of your teammates in some specific task, project, or just life dilemma they had. And it's 5 p.m. and you're like, hey, I didn't get any job done. Sometimes your job is that. I mean, when you're a manager, a director, your job is to manage people. That's why one of the soft skills associated with that is leadership and team management. You have to manage a team. And managing a team means leading people, means dealing with people. They have feelings, they have goals, they have things that need to be done besides work and everything, and also inside the job. So try to be a little bit of a coach for them if they want to, because there are
Yeah.
also people that you're never going to resonate with. It doesn't mean that you're a bad leader. Sometimes you just don't fit. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I guess it comes with a job as well. But you have an open mind and trying to see your team as people who have goals as well. And if they feel like, if there's any of them that wants to be a CMO in the future, for example, and you're the CMO, but they see how you're going to help them become eventually a CMO at your company or other company, and you talk openly about this. Hey, if you ever want to change industry, just let me know. I can help you find something. That's
Yeah.
not something your boss would normally tell to you,
Yeah.
and that helps you be more confident with those people, and that helps them see that you care about them. Normally, that comes back with care as well, and
Yeah.
normally that comes back with better results, at least in my personal experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true though. Like I think that just having that transparency between like the leader and whoever else you're managing at the time is very important because that's how you kind of build trust early on. Like
Yeah, I
um,
mean, they are people. They want the same thing as you. They also want a better salary. They want a better job. They want to have more free time. They want
of course.
everything you want. So just think about it. And the same things you need or you want, um, talk about them. Talk about them with your team. Talk about those things. Talk about how the company and yourself and their hard work can help achieve that point faster or achieve it at some point. Because some people, we like it or not, we never do it. That's life also.
That's very true. Now, thank you so much for being on the Next in Line podcast. I had an excellent time talking to you today, and I just wanted to thank you again for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Karina. It was a real pleasure. I think you're doing a great job here with a very beautiful mission. So I hope you continue doing it at least for a while.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Karina. Bye bye.